Hey Ray, one thing that we really did bring up yet, and there's just so much, the bazaars, the firemen's festivals that
my
we had.
goodness.
And
Yep.
my gosh, everybody went to the bazaars, the weekend bazaars. Tell them about it, Ray.
It used to be, I don't know how many was, I used to play 20, 30 bazaars a summer. Now there's not even that many bazaars around because all the churches consolidated. People got older, nobody wants to work, so nobody's having the picnics anymore. And if they do, polka music seems to be removed from the scene with that. All the people that used to follow me aren't around anymore. I mean, let's face it, we're in our 70s.
Yeah, you know what? That's
we used to always say the younger people got to get involved into the polka fields. Well, anybody younger than 70 is young now, so there's young people getting involved in the polka field.
And really, we were fortunate because we were in our late teens and early 20s, and then in the 80s, we're starting to move into our 30s. So we had the evolution of music here in the 80s. And then in the 90s, it started changing.
Yeah, I did change in the late 80s. I more or less, I had some musician changes, but I did make kind of a switch where we kind of got away from the polkas as much. One ice storm going up to Horseheads, New York to play, that did me in. I said, I don't want to travel anymore.
I remember that.
And that was pretty much when I changed things around a little bit. Got some musicians playing with me from the old rock scene that were tired of playing clubs and wanted to come with me because they knew I was doing private parties and weddings.
That's when you started blending the keyboard in too,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Didn't the keyboard really work its way in even more as you were doing that?
Well,
Seems like when I went to see
end,
you play.
yeah, at the end I was mostly playing keyboard, and which I'm not really a good keyboard player, but I got
don't
done what we
undercut
had.
yourself short. You did a great
I
job.
mean, my love was always the sax and clarinet with the polka music, and you can't get that out of you. But
that's your heritage.
Yep, but then like I said, I moved things around. Leon left the band, and that kind of hurt a lot because he was an excellent accordion player. I reorganized there for a while. I had a person from college, Fred Pikolich, play for accordion for about a year.
I forgot about that. Wasn't he a vocal major too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a nice voice, but
Fred Pikolich.
he lasted about a year, and then he left, and we had people coming up the house to try out on keyboards, and I mean, you had to tell them what chord and when the change was, and I mean, come on, we were playing rock stuff that there's 3-4 chords in the song, so I just said to myself, well, if I got to do that and tell them what to do, I'll just pick one up myself and start doing it. So at the time I had Bob Bartoli playing guitar, who was excellent, so they didn't really need much from me. All I was doing, I was actually just playing chords like a rhythm, like another rhythm guitar. And Bob Bartoli took over everything there, and that's when we started doing more rock and stuff. And that was in the late 80s, early 90s. And we kept going till 2011. At the end of 2011 was pretty much when I gave the band up.
And how many years was that total, would you say? I know you probably remember
Well,
it about.
The name under RSO, under Ray Suda, actually believe it came in 74 or 75.
Yeah, so you're talking quite a few, almost 40 years.
Yep.
Maybe more.
Yep.
Hey,
and then even when I was off, I never, even on days if you did have a rare occasion that you were off, either the Krieger brothers or Jolly Joe or somebody, an accordion player, Frank Zawodniak from Swarsville. Mm-hmm. I used to get so many calls to fill in, Bill Kuklevich. I'd get calls to fill in with so many bands, which was great back then, the polka field, because you came, the accordion player threw the sheet music out at you, and you just read the music.
Yeah, hey, you just mentioned the Krieger Brothers Orchestra, and I, as you know, I'm in Florida now, but 3 or 4 months ago, I read a lot of the local news online, and I was reading about the Luzerne County Music Hall of Fame, I believe it was.
Yes.
Arts and Entertainment.
Yep.
And what is it, Jody, the exact title?
Luzerne County Arts and Entertainment Hall of Fame.
Luzerne County Arts and Entertainment Hall of Fame. And I saw the mention of the Krieger brothers and Brunon Krieger, the father, from the 1930s.
Never really knew the father because he was way back. No.
But you know what's interesting? You look at some of the archives that they have. Brunon, of course, we sat with Bruce and Jerry and Bruce, Jerry,
and
and
Lucian.
Lucian.
Down at Ray Hoddle's.
Many times, and talking about their father, okay, who was deceased at the time because we're in our 20s, 30s, but 1930s, moved up from Shenandoah, south of us, Pennsylvania, not Shenandoah Valley in the Virginias, but Shenandoah, Pennsylvania, playing polkas. I'm amazed at this because I can hear him today. Ship ahoy, sailor. Ship ahoy, sailor. World War II time. Ship ahoy, sailor.
Used to be what was it WBAX that used to have Sunday?
Yep, but he also had his TV show in black and white at WBRE. They were doing a little recording. Yeah, back then, if you look it up,
I don't remember
I've seen
that.
that. Yep, I've seen that, and it was.
That's because you're older than me, Bobby.
Well, not that much older than you, but no, I've even talked to Lou about it, and I hope I have that right. Something makes me think, yeah, because if he came up in the 30s, it would be about black and white days in the 50s, and you know, I can remember the Beverly Hillbillies and whatever. It was black and white, you know.
Yeah, we were both good friends with the Krieger brothers.
Hey, but what I wanted to mention though, with the Hall of Fame, Brunon really laid the foundation here in Luzerne County, and then the Krieger brothers, Lucian Bruce and Jerry, they carried that tradition on. I mean, the Krieger brothers, the city band shell in the Wilkes-Barre, remember Public Square?
Yep.
Hey, the concerts in the park, the Mayflower Park, they used to go to all different places, up Plains, and play on a weeknight. The Krieger brothers, they'd have the polka dancers, Chubby Walters.
Chubby Walters was there, yep.
So hey, Jody, I want to say,
Joe Gallardi on clarinet.
It's nice
Bill
to see.
Chirpek.
I'm interrupting you, but I come back to that. I just want to say this. I think it's so good because many times polkas, they're like in the background or something, but here's something that was recognized. And I really don't know how it got in there, that you got the Krieger brothers in there, but how did that happen? How did that come about?
Each member of the board brought who they thought deserved recognition. And because I had a history since 1957 taking lessons there, and then being at Sansui for those 100 accordions, 80 clarinets, and 2 guitars. And I worked my way up, plus WBAX, as you mentioned. That was fantastic to be at WBAX on a Sunday, and then you'd get a chance every 3 or 4 months. You'd be the featured, player, and you got your taste. But those guys provided not only me, but
12 o'clock on a Sunday. Antes monkre dobre zili, iha wupa postavili. Antes klink no manka stenko, iha wupa penkua.
Hop, ship, hoy dana, this is Krieger's Orchestra. Hop, ship, hoy dana, this is Hey, but the Krieger brothers, got to give Lucian, Bruce, Jerry, and particularly their dad, Brunon Sr. We just have to mention that because our connection with the polkas and everything, to see that happening. And Jody, I heard you say like you got that going on the polka aspect, and I really appreciate, because I read in there. I mean, Joe Nardone, and there's so many people, but they all had their different genres of music and everything, and you have a big blend of people that are in to be honored. And you'll be, how many will you be choosing?
We already did 10. I think there's 9 or 10 going in this first round.
Wonderful.
Yeah, there'll be more about that on Jody Bush's Community House after we get our advertising set. In the casino on October 14th is going to be the best show you'll ever see of a mix of musicians, and we're hoping for an all-star jam.
This is going to be October 14th of this year?
Yep.
And it's at the casino?
Yep.
Wow, really? I know you'll have a lot of promotion coming out on that, I'm sure. Yeah. Hey, incidentally, speaking of promotion, I read it, Bill O'Boyle's is what I saw online, okay? And Bill, I hope you're watching, because the way you handled this in the media, you deserve a pat on the shoulder. I'm not there, but we can applaud you, because I'll tell you, being in Florida, that's 1,200 miles away. And I got excited when I read all of what you were writing about this. It was a continuous passion that you have for this. So Bill O'Boyle from the Times Leader, you did a really good job on that. And Ray, when you saw it too, you had to be amazed just how it looked in the media.
Yep.
Each person has an expertise that is brought to this board. Each person has a different angle, but we all come together and discuss in a great manner and listen to the points of each one. And I'm just very grateful to be part of this organization.
Yep.
That's great.
Hey, the polka field was good to us. I mean, we did a lot of playing with it. Plus, it was hot. It was a big thing then. I used to teach 44 students.
I had 36.
44 students down
Besides
at
playing.
Krieger's Music Store.
Hey, Jody, watch him laugh. Watch this.
I got it closer.
Do you remember the day I walked in Krieger's store and I had an afro?
No.
You don't remember that? Okay, I did. Needless to say, I was very embarrassed. You were teaching at the time. We went to Hoddles after that.
There's so many things with you, Z, that you just want to forget about.
I did that, though. Anyway, but this is a great opportunity, the way we're reminiscing in that,
Yep.
But again, I got to mention I know the Citizen's Voice, the Times Leader, even the TV stations, I believe, are starting to look at this. But Bill kind of took it by the reins, and I guess he has a passion for it. I personally know him, too. So I just had to drop that in. Bill O'Boyle, again, great coverage in the media, journalism.
What do you guys think about this first annual polka festival? Ray, you were there. You and your wife, Tony, were there.
Yeah.
Tell us something about that.
It was nice. Nice to see. Nice to see a lot of people that I haven't seen in years and years. I mean, I just had people coming up to me and shaking my hand and stuff that I don't even remember who they were. I mean, you're up on stage, everybody knows you. You really don't know all the people out there, but it was very nice. And I thought Jimmy Sturr did a very nice job of doing a tribute for the Krieger brothers at that, along with John Stanky and Joe Stanky. Unfortunately, on that day, John Stanky had fallen and cracked a rib and was in the hospital and was not able to make the program, but his band was there and they made it through without him. But I was sorry to hear that about John. He's 87 years old and he had a little problem there. He was in rehab for a while, but he's back out from what I understand. He's back on the bandstand again. Wow. He played last night all day long down at Knoebels Grove.
Yeah, you mentioned about Jimmy Sturr, and thanks to social media, particularly Facebook and YouTube, I saw a lot of that was on there after it, and I'm telling you, it was exciting. And again, 1,200 miles away, but I even felt like I was there. Unfortunately, I couldn't be. But you mentioned Jimmy Sturr and the great tribute that he did to the Kriegers. We should tell people, they may not remember this, but all of the Krieger brothers albums, at least many of them in the later years, if not all, were on Star Records, which was Jimmy Sturr's label.
I think he started off, his first couple albums were on Timmer's.
That's right. Okay, that's why I kind of hesitate to say all, because I knew
down
there
in
was
Allentown, yeah.
But then probably 40, 50, 60, whatever after that were all Star. So they developed a bond together professionally, but as
close.
friends.
Yeah.
So if they had somebody who could really tell the Krieger story in a good way, it was Jimmy Sturr, and I really saw that on there, and I think he really did it too, because he really felt like
he actually got emotional.
Yeah. And he, at that time, Jimmy was the younger of the two.
Yeah.
Jimmy would actually look up to, in the latter years of playing, of course, the band front was Lucian and Bruce, Lou and Bruce Krieger. But hey, I went back, I talked about Chubby Walters and the band shell and everything.
Yep.
I can see Lucian, Bruce, and Jerry. Jerry was playing the upright bass.
Yeah,
he was the bass player.
Jerry didn't really play that long.
Yeah, but he played bass there.
Played
I
bass.
could see Chubby Walters.
And violin, too.
And violin, yeah.
Yep.
What great memories. I hope you're enjoying what you're watching there. Particularly,
remember Bill Chirpak on accordion and Joe Gallardi on clarinet? They were
Joe Gallardi, yeah, incredible.
Yep.
Boy, could he play. Hey, that's the band shell days.
Yep.
Mayflower Park in Wilkes-Barre, I can picture
I think
that.
maybe who
Public
was it?
Square.
Was that Jerry Gillis on drums with them at that time, maybe?
Yeah, Jerry Gillis. And you know what? Greasy hands, greasy fingers. He worked with
He was a
Gillis's
car mechanic.
generator repairs and everything, but on the weekend he played polkas.
Oh, by the way, Lucian's daughters are going to bring the bells that used to appear on the stage, plus a fiddle. To
My gosh.
To the 14th of October. This is going to be really special. get them up there, get the grandkids up there to actually participate. So just wanted to throw that
Yeah.
in.
You know, I think I saw the daughters were at the event in Wilkes-Barre, didn't I
Yes.
see? I haven't seen them in years,
Yep.
but it was so nice to see them too, the family there at the Stir event and
Told
everything.
them about it.
You did?
Yeah.
It was excellent.
Then I got a hold of what's his name? One of the guys that promotes it. Why can't I think of his name right now? Tom Greco. I gave Tom the phone number. So wanted it to be something special, one more time, or like today's special with you guys.
I'll tell you what, I never thought it would turn out like this, you know. But I have to say this, I'm thinking of the generation that you connected with through teaching and everything and playing. And I think a lot of the viewers out there that are watching this, particularly with social media today, I don't think they can, I think they're really enjoying this, really. Wow, is that what it was like back then? I actually feel like we're going back in time.
That's exactly
Physically, I just lit right up. And
I
so
feel
did Ray.
sorry for these young musicians. They'll never experience the days in the playing business like we did.
They're on their iPhones.
Yeah,
all the
it's
time.
it's a whole different it's a whole different scene out there today.
I mean, even you go to the bars now, it's just duo or single. It's
Yeah.
totally
We
different.
had the best, I think.
Yes, we did.
Yep, and then came the 90s. And boy, at the millennium and everything, the big switch was on then. And then as you went through that, it was a drab here and
I mean, it got to the point where you couldn't really play half the songs that they wanted you to, because everything was programmed, and you just
Yeah, even
couldn't
us,
do it.
We
Yeah.
had, up to 2016, we were hanging in, but after a while, we just said, I think we're done here.
Yep.
Yeah? You just know when your time to go to pasture.
Yeah, you couldn't learn the songs, and you wouldn't want to anyway.
Yeah, there's something that you're touching upon there about music today, and that, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but it's become so technical today. And that's, I think, what you're referring to. All the synthesize and the way they're putting the music together today, you can't physically play these songs on the traditional instruments. Right. The guitars, the trumpets, the saxophones, it's not designed for instrumental music. It's, and Jody, I have a question for you. Because I look back at the standards, and even at Christmas time, the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, White Christmas, whatever, the songs around forever. The songs from the 50s, I'm in the Mood for Love, Harbor's Lights, whatever they were, Please Release Me. You remember My Happiness. You remember them for decades because of the simplicity and the meaning. It doesn't seem like in this new millennium and that you could, not even us, I don't think that today the young children even can, children, listen to this.
Hear a song once and walk away singing it.
I don't think they do that today,
I have no idea what they do. I just know.
Yeah, it's too technical, Yeah. But I don't know, maybe I'm just talking like an old man, but anyway, don't you say anything. But I do know it's very complex, and you touched upon it. That's only why I brought that
I like
point
being
in.
around you, Z. You make me feel young.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
Boy,
you.
there hasn't been too many beers consumed during this thing. That should change. I think you guys could go and get a couple, and then we'll summarize.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's great.
We'll go on strike if we don't get our beer.
I'll have a light.